This is a piece of lab-created Columbian colored emerald, and I got this rough, purchased it from a lab in Russia. When I have free time, I enjoy examining gem faceting diagrams, and I'm looking for interesting designs that I have not cut before. I have a few books by the late Jeff Graham, and I especially enjoy cutting his designs. So when BOPIE asked me to cut a lab-created emerald into a square design, I went to my library of gem faceting diagrams, and I found what I think will be a great design. It's called Crystal Mine, and it was designed by the late Jeff Graham. I found this design in one of Jeff's books called Edition Number 12, Glitter Money Cuts. The designs in Edition 12 were all selected by Jeff because they have a lot of brightness and sparkle, and thus the name glitter. I will have to apologize in advance, but I will not be able to share the cutting instructions for this design with you due to copyright laws. I will always try to show you the cutting instructions for whatever gemstone I'm working on when I can, but in this case, the design is protected. If you like the design and you want to cut it, you can contact the Rock Peddler and order Book 12 for yourself. All the instructions are there. Jeannie at the Rock Peddler has all of Jeff's books for sale on behalf of his estate. Again, the design is called Crystal Mine, and if I cut the design correctly, it should look like this. Jeff designed this faceting diagram especially for beryl, which is emerald, aquamarine, morganite, etc., and quartz, and said that this design can be cut in any gem material with a refractive index ranging from 1.54 to 2.14 without having to make any changes to the cutting angles. Jeff also said the design goes especially well with aquamarine, and he recommended a light colored gem material for this design and suggested that the stone be larger than 10 millimeters. So let's get started cutting our emerald. Okay, so I finished with the 600 grit lap, and I was just starting with my 12M, about a 1500 grit lap, and I looked at this inclusion right here, and it looks like with just a little bit of loss of rough, I can cut that out. And I think it's going to make the stone a millimeter smaller than it would be, not much more, because I can just shave it off and I can get rid of it. And I think I'm going to do that because this inclusion looks to me like it could easily chip. It's just right there. It's just, this big inclusion is just about to cut through. So rather than to leave it in and risk chipping later and it's not very attractive, I'm going to go ahead and make the stone a little bit smaller and cut that inclusion out. So I'll go back to my 600 grit lap and work through that inclusion. Okay, I finished pre-polishing the emerald with my 12M lap, 1500 grit. I was going to do 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap, but this emerald and beryl polishes up very nicely, has been, this material, with my creamway lap with water mixed with cerium oxide spray. So I'm going to skip the 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap and go straight to polish and see how it does. Finished polishing the bottom half of our Crystal Mine design for our Columbian Colored emerald, and so now I'll transfer the stone into the other dop and cut the upper half of our stone. Just gone over the Crystal Mine design with this is 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. So now I'm ready to polish, and it's already sparkling pretty well. So I'll go over it now with cerium oxide. I'll use my creamway lap and polish it up. Okay, I finished polishing the crown of our Columbian Colored emerald, and now I just have the table left to polish. So I'll set up the dop to cut the table, and then we'll be finished. Okay, I had no problem polishing the table up with the creamway lap with a spray bottle of cerium oxide and water. So I'll soak our stone in attack and remove the two-part epoxy. Then we'll weigh it, measure it, and send it off to BOPIE. I did load this design into my GemCut Studio or GCS software, as I find that helps me to show how the computer cuts the design as I'm cutting, helps me stay on track, and helps me to continue my journey to understand GCS. So I will say that in this design there are several lines of instruction which you have to change the mode in GCS from symmetrical to arbitrary. And that gave me a lot of experience using the arbitrary feature. Again, I apologize I can't walk you through this feature with this particular copyright protected design, but I do cover the arbitrary feature in my GCS tutorial videos, and I wanted to share that with you, that this design does call for that. I had to cut down the size of this rough because of an internal fracture that I believed would have chipped off the final gemstone. So unfortunately, I was not able to have a 10 millimeter stone, which is what Jeff recommends is the minimum size for this cut. This design definitely glitters as promised, and the design was fun and interesting for me to cut. In my opinion, any gem cutter who has already cut a few gemstones would have no problem cutting this design. I had no issues polishing this rough with the Creamway Lap and cerium oxide. And regarding the use of the solvent Attack to remove two-part epoxy, I'm continuing to experiment with this product. It cuts through epoxy in just a couple of hours. However, my opinion is that acetone, although also kind of a nasty chemical, is much safer to use than Attack. And although acetone takes overnight to do what Attack can do in just a few hours, acetone is readily available, is much cheaper, and somewhat safer to use. So in my opinion, acetone gets the job done without the worry of using the harsher chemicals that are in Attack. So I would recommend acetone for most cutters. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of the product Attack in the comments. Also, please let me know in the comments what you think of this emerald and the design. And as always, happy faceting, everyone.